Here's Sam Levitt.
San Diego Padres baseball coming up on 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. Today the Padres take on the New York Yankees in the second game of a three-game series. Our starting pitching matchup today for the Yankees, right-hander Marcus Stroman, and for the Padres, right-hander Dylan Cease. Hi again, everyone. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. First pitch coming up at 6:40 as the Padres continue this three-game series and this six-game homestand. Coming up in the next 50 minutes, you'll hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt, Bob Scanlon, David Peralta, Manny Machado, and Michael King. Plus, we have our keys to the game, a full breakdown of this pitching matchup, and much, much more to come. But first, let's set the table, brought to you by Fraser Farms Market. Set your table with the highest quality of natural and organic products from Fraser Farms Market, a San Diego original since 1971 with 3 locations, La Mesa, Vista, and Oceanside. Padres enter with a record of 27-27. Padres win 5-2 on a road trip to Atlanta and Cincinnati before coming home and losing last night's series opener. Even with the loss last night, Padres have still won 6 of their last 7 series. They're 13-10 in the last 23 games. Meanwhile, the Yankees have been the best team in the American League so far. They come in at a record of 36-17. Yankees are 17-5 in the month of May. They've won 10 of their last 12 games. How about this? The Yankees have hit 27 home runs in that 12-game span. Before we turn our full attention to tonight's game here in downtown San Diego, let's take a look back at last night.
How did the Padres fare in their last game? Let's take a look back with our Padres Rewind. Presented by Hamul Casino. With thrilling slots and tables and all the best rewards, Hamul Casino has all the fun you're looking for. Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
The Yankees had a 1-0 lead in the third inning against Yu Darvish. There was a runner on second base with 2 outs for Juan Soto.
0-1 pitch. Soto swings, hits it in the air to very deep right field. This one is way back and gone. A 2-run home run for Juan Soto, his 14th of the season. And the Yankee lead is now 3-0.
Soto made it 3-0. Aaron Judge was next.
Here's the 1-0 to Judge. Swung on, hit a mile to deep left field. Profar going to turn around, watch where it goes. Second deck in left. The Yankees go back-to-back. Judge is now homered in 3 straight games, and they lead 4-0.
Yankees weren't done. Alex Verdugo hit a long single off the left field fence. That set the stage for Giancarlo Stanton.
4th hit of the inning. 2 of them have gone over the fence, and now you got to deal with Stanton. First pitch coming, and a slow curve hit a mile to left field. Oh, my goodness. Second balcony, Western Metal when it comes down. 3rd home run of the inning for the Yankees. The blasts have all been prodigious. And now 6-0 New York in the 3rd.
It didn't get better for you quickly. Gleyber Torres hit a leadoff home run in the 4th inning. It was 7-0 New York. 4 home runs in a span of 6 batters. Carlos Rodon, meanwhile, was great for the Yankees on the mound. 6 scoreless innings. Padres were shut out for the 5th time in their last 13 games. All those shutouts started by a left-handed pitcher. Final score last night in the series opener, the Yankees 8 and the Padres nothing. As always, if you want to get involved on our pregame coverage, you can do that in a number of different ways. You can tweet at me at SammyLev, SammyLev. Instagram DM's open as well. You can message me there at SammyLev2, SammyLev. If you're watching our pregame coverage on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, you can comment on there. Let me know who you are, where you're tuned in from, and if you have a key to tonight's game against the Yankees, let me know what it is, and I may just read your key to the game here on the air. We'll hear my keys to the game coming up a little bit later in our pregame coverage. As we get ready for first pitch coming up at 6:40, let's go inside the Padres radio booth.
Let's go inside the Padres broadcast booth for a deep dive on today's matchup from Bob Scanlon in our Padres game preview on the Padres Radio Network.
We go down the way here at Petco Park. We're joined by Bob Scanlon on the call once again tonight alongside Jesse Agler. And Scan, let's start with the pitching matchup in this one. And we'll begin with right-hander Dylan Cease on the mound for the Padres. Cease, for the most part, Scan, has been really good in a Padre uniform. Had that run of 4, 5, 6 starts where he was simply dominant. It's been a little bit shakier the last 2, Scan, for Cease against the Rockies and the Braves. To you, how does Dylan Cease sort of find that dominance again against a very tough lineup in the New York Yankees?
Yeah, you want to be on your best game against this lineup, don't you? And honestly, I don't think Dylan threw the ball that poorly against the Rockies. I know you see 3 runs cross the plate. Some of that was because of the bullpen, letting his runners score afterwards. I'm not saying that he was as dominant and as sharp as he had been in some of his previous outings, but it wasn't a horrible outing. And the last one, it was just more of a fastball command thing. And prior to the last outing, he had talked about, and Ruben Niebla also had shared, that he was really in a great spot mechanically in terms of feeling good, driving down the mound, having great command of his fastball and his other pitches as well. Just wasn't as sharp in the last outing versus Atlanta, and he's worked on some things in between outings to get himself back on track and get back into that rhythm and that routine. So, that's what we expect today, to see the Dylan Cease that we've seen, Sam, that's so dominant, and it all starts with that fastball. If he has command of it, could it be a good night for Dylan Cease? If not, then he's going to have to come up with something else, because we see what the Yankees lineup can do when you're not hitting your spots. They showed that last night.
Let's talk a little bit more about this Yankee lineup, because the top of the lineup, Volpe is hitting really well right now in the midst of a long hitting streak. Soto's doing Soto things. Judge is doing Judge things. Verdugo behind them. Stanton behind them. If you're Dylan Cease or anybody, Scan, if you were on the mound, let's say, how are you attacking the top half of this lineup right now? Not just the name, Scan, but the way these guys are hitting right now for the Yankees.
Well, 2 things. First of all, whenever you're facing guys that are hitting as well as they are, the tendency is to look at the scouting report, and you'll start hearing, well, you can't go here, be careful going there. There can be a lot of negative stuff that come out of the reports. And I'm not saying that that's what he's hearing, but what I'm saying is when you see it and you start hearing, danger zone, got to be careful here, got to be careful there, you can start pitching defensively. And so I think number 1, and Dylan is great at this, is staying on the offensive, getting strike 1, working ahead and not trying to nibble too much, because you think, if I make a mistake, I'm going to get hammered. Well, the next thing you know, you're behind in the count and you're forced to come into the zone, and that's when things get even worse. So number 1, don't get intimidated, stay aggressive. And the other thing is, I thought, we noticed it yesterday, the Yankees did not miss anything out over the plate. So, pitching inside is going to be an important part of facing this lineup, and I think you need to be able to pitch inside for strikes. I'm not opposed to pitching inside off the plate at times when you need to try to, I'm not saying send a message, but you got to let guys know that, I'm going to move feet at times and give yourself a little bit of breathing room out over that plate, because as we saw last night, if they're comfortable in that batter's box and you make a mistake out over, they're going to make you pay for it, and in a big way. So stay aggressive and be sure to use that inside part of the plate to give yourself some breathing room away.
Let's talk about the other side of this pitching matchup. Right-hander Marcus Stroman on the mound for the Yankees. In the midst of a good year, 3.05 ERA in 10 starts. He's got a 2.22 ERA in 4 starts during May, coming off a really nice outing against the Mariners on Monday. Scan, in your prep for this one, what stands out about what Stroman is doing right now?
Well, first of all, he's basically doing what he normally does, which is throw the sinker. He's a ground ball type guy. He's a great athlete on the mound. He uses his slider. He's using the slider a little bit more this year than in the past. He used to use the slurve, so now he's got more of a traditional slider, so that's a little bit different, but the MO is still the same, which is stay down, get ground balls. It's worked for him his entire career, and I don't see any reason to look for anything different today. The thing about Stroman is he's such a good athlete, Sam, that he's one of those guys that even if you get to him early, there's a pretty good chance that he's going to be able to mechanically make an adjustment on the mound, on the fly, better than most guys can, because he's such a good athlete out there. So if he's giving you some breathing room, a little bit of daylight early on in the ball game, you better take advantage of it.
We'll see how the Padres do against Marcus Stroman. Dylan Cease on the mound for San Diego. Scan, as always, appreciate the time. We'll talk to you and Jesse coming up at 6:30 for Game 2 of this 3-game series against the Yankees. Thanks so much.
Good talking with you, Sam, as always.
All right, that is Bob Scanlon joining us from inside the Padres radio booth as we get ready for Game 2 of this 3-game set between the Padres and the New York Yankees. Padres trying to bounce back after being shut out last night. The final score 8-0. We'll see if the Padres can get the bats going here today against the Yankees. When we come back, we'll hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt, plus much, much more to come as we walk you up towards first pitch here on this Saturday night at Petco Park. First pitch coming up at 6:40 on the Padres Radio Network. Welcome back to the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show on the Padres Radio Network. Your water perfected. EcoWater SoCal. Your water should be perfect. Find them online at EcoWaterSoCal.com. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we get ready for first pitch. Coming up at 6:40, Game 2 of this 3-game set between the Padres and the New York Yankees. Let's take a quick look at the lineup today for the Padres. It looks like this. Luis Arraez at first base leading off. He's followed by Fernando Tatis Jr. in right field batting second. Jurickson Profar in left field batting third. Manny Machado, the DH, batting cleanup. Jake Cronenworth at second base batting fifth. Donovan Solano, the third baseman, batting sixth. Luis Camposano doing the catching, batting seventh. Jackson Merrill in center field batting eighth. And Ha-Sung Kim, the shortstop, batting ninth today for the Padres. With that in mind, let's hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. Presented by Sinley Food. Spice up your culinary life.
Marcus Stroman on the mound for the Yankees, another quality pitcher for them. What are some of the keys tonight against him?
Yeah, I go back with Stro. Back in, had him in 2013 in the Fall League when he was with Toronto. And, good pitcher. He's a good athlete, great competitor. He's going to mix it up. It's just a matter of us making sure we get good pitches to hit and having a good approach, putting good swings on them, and finding some places where they're not standing.
You didn't have an opportunity to use Estrada Suarez last night, but with Estrada emerging, with how good Robert has been as well, what does that do for your bullpen, your greater team, when you have a couple of guys in the back end there that are performing the way they are?
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, let's don't kid ourselves. I mean, Suarez has been an absolute rock for us at the back end of the bullpen, and we've used him, in a lot of different ways to create an opportunity to win games, which has worked out. But the fact of the matter is we need a lot of pieces back there that can contribute, and Estrada stepping up on the road in Atlanta and Cincinnati were tremendous for us. Able to get a save and able to get the eighth in Atlanta, and then able to get 2 innings the other day in Cincinnati in a close ball game, tied ball game, is very important. So, having those guys do that and having other guys step up as well is going to be really key.
Your team has shown a good amount of resiliency the early part of the season, whether that's coming back in games or even during the course of a series, losing a game, bouncing back, winning a series. A third of the way through, what do you make of your team in that sense, the resiliency?
Yeah, I think I can't be more pleased with this team. I really can't. Anybody that follows this team, I would hope, would have the same impression about it. All I can ask for, I ask for a lot of things. But one of the primary things I can ask for is a team that's going to compete regardless of circumstances, and have a group that's going to be prepared to do that and willing to do that. And I don't want to underscore that's an easy thing to do. I was thinking more recently about just the schedule of baseball, and you look at basketball and you look at football and there's in hockey, and those are demanding sports, for a lot of different reasons. But no sport goes through the daily mental, physical grind that we go through. And to have a real trait of teams that I've had been successful, regardless of level, that have been in the playoffs, which are a lot, have that tendency, have that trait of being able to play every day and consistent and resilient. And I'm really pleased that's where we're at right now. And it's only going to continue to intensify.
When Dylan Cease has been on this year, what have you? He's had some starts where he's really locked in. Do you notice that early, and when he is, what things are there to look for?
Well, he's had a lot of those starts. Again, I'll say this a lot of times with pitchers, just starts with his command. But, when Dylan's coming out and he's throwing his fastball, he wants to throw the sliders on the plate or on the plate under, he's really, really tough. So looking forward to seeing him compete tonight. It's going to be fun.
What kind of shot in the arm has Solano/Peralta to be able to call them up and use them in the way that you can use them now that Bogarts is going to be lost? Looks like it's going to be kind of like a platoony kind of thing.
Yeah, we're going to move the pieces around a little bit. The pieces have worked really well to this point. You're talking about guys with just a lot of professional at bats and how they go about it. So their value's been on the field. We've already seen that. Peralta 3 hits. Solano swung the bat all. Since he's been up here, takes a bat good against lefties, righties. They're just got a good presence about them. They help elevate the clubhouse as well. They're just really good pickups.
That was Padres manager Mike Shildt before today's game. We'll hear more from Mike on our post-game show coming up a little bit later. By the way, a correction, and my apologies. For some reason, I read last night's lineup before we heard from Mike Shildt. And as I was reading it, I was sort of thinking to myself, wasn't David Peralta in this lineup? This is not the lineup I saw earlier. So what I read here was not correct. So let me read you the lineup again. This is the actual lineup for the Padres here tonight. Again, my apologies. I don't know what happened there right before we heard from Mike Shildt. Here is the lineup. At first base, Luis Arraez leading off. Fernando Tatis Jr. in right field batting second. Jerkson Profar in left field batting third. Jake Cronenworth at second base batting cleanup. Manny Machado batting fifth at third base. The DH today, David Peralta. He's batting sixth. Jackson Merrill in center field batting seventh. Luis Campusano batting eighth behind the plate. And Ha-Sung Kim at shortstop batting ninth. And that is the correct lineup for the Padres on this Saturday night for Game 2 of this 3-game series. And like I said earlier, we'll hear from tonight's DH, David Peralta, coming up in just a little bit. Now let's tell you who's hot, who's not.
Which player is locked in at the dish? Who needs to kick things up another notch? This is Who's Hot, Who's Not on the Padres Radio Network.
We take a look at the hot category. A couple of Padres that will keep in there despite having 0-fers yesterday. Luis Arraez being one of them. 0 for 4 last night. That snapped a 28-game on-base streak. Arraez hit .393 with a .417 on-base percentage during that 28-game on-base streak. Last night also ended his run of 8 consecutive multi-hit games. Jurickson Profar had a 12-game hitting streak snap last night, batted .381 during that run. For the Yankees, a few guys in the hot category. Anthony Volpe in the midst of a 17-game hitting streak, batting .329 in that span. Juan Soto has reached base safely in 16 of his last 32 plate appearances, 5 home runs, 9 RBIs in the last 7 games. Meanwhile, Aaron Judge, also in the hot category, hitting .450 with an 1150 OPS in his last 12 games, 7 home runs, 7 doubles, 15 runs scored, 12 RBIs in that span. Giancarlo Stanton, also in the hot category, and especially with the power, 5 home runs in his last 10 games. The not category, we take a look at a couple of Padres. Luis Campusano, 5 for his last 35. Manny Machado just 10 for 53 in his last 14 games. And we also take a look at one Yankee, Anthony Rizzo, batting just .191 in his last 11 games. Back at first base tonight for the Yankees. And that's a look at who's hot, who's not, as we get ready for tonight's game at Petco Park. When we come back on our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show, we'll hear from a number of different players, including former Yankee Michael King. We'll hear from Manny Machado. We'll also hear from tonight's DH, David Peralta, our keys to the game, and a much deeper look at our pitching matchup between Dylan Cease and Marcus Stroman coming up in a little bit as well. First pitch at 6:40 here in downtown San Diego on the Padres Radio Network.
Hey, guys.
Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we get ready for first pitch coming up at 6:40, Game 2 of this three-game series between the Padres and the New York Yankees. Right-hander Dylan Cease on the mound for San Diego. Right-hander Marcus Stroman on the mound for New York. We'll see who wins Game 2 of this series. We'll see if the Padres can set up a rubber match tomorrow, and we'll see if the Padres can limit this Yankees lineup. Big day for the Yankees lineup yesterday. 4 home runs. We'll have more on that coming up in just a little bit. We'll also hear from Manny Machado and David Peralta in this segment. And in our final segment, we'll hear from former Yankee Michael King. Let's update you on the injuries for the Padres and the Yankees entering tonight.
Who's in? Who's out? This is the Bada Fulkerson Injury Report, presented by San Diego's Bulldog Injury Attorneys, who hope you're never in an accident. But if you are, make Bada Fulkerson the first call you make. Hit them up 24/7 at badafulkerson.com.
A few updates to get to on the injury front. For the Padres, really nothing new to report. As we know, in the last week, the big piece of news, Xander Bogaerts is out for a while, probably at least a couple of months with that fractured bone in his left shoulder. Did have a chance to catch up with Xander today. Really no new news to report there, but hey, that bone has to heal. So right now it's a waiting game to kind of see how fast it'll heal and what the timetable ultimately will look like for Xander. As far as the Yankees, a couple of updates for them. John Birdie hurt himself yesterday in the 9th inning. He was placed on the 10-day IL with a left calf strain earlier today, and the Yankees calling up infielder Kevin Smith. He was added to the active roster today. As far as any other updates for the Yankees, Aaron Boone earlier today saying there's a chance that Garrett Cole could begin a rehab assignment as soon as this coming week, so that was interesting to hear earlier today. Jose Trevino not in the lineup once again today. He's been held out for a couple of days with an illness, and that's a look at the injury report for the Padres and the Yankees before Game 2 of this series. Let's take a quick look at the out-of-town scoreboard.
Let's take a trip around the Bigs and tell you about the scores you need to know in our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Meat, where great taste meets integrity.
We have a number of finals already today, some games going on right now, and some games yet to begin. Let's focus on the finals first. Brewers beat the Red Sox at Fenway Park 6-3. Final in 11 in Tampa Bay, the Royals beat the Rays 7-4. A's beat the Astros 3-1 in Oakland earlier today. Nationals beat the Mariners 3-1 in D.C. Pirates beat the Braves in Pittsburgh 4-1. Twins beat the Rangers 5-3 in Minnesota. Alex Kirilloff, a home run, a 3-run shot in that one for Minnesota. Orioles beat the White Sox 5-3 in Chicago. Orioles had a huge 8th inning in that game. They hit 3 home runs to take the lead. They go on to win that game against the White Sox. And finally, the Tigers beat the Blue Jays 2-1. Both runs for Detroit coming on a Kerry Carpenter home run. And the final score of the day right now, Giants beat the Mets 7-2 in New York, the final in 10 innings earlier today. Games going on right now. Cubs ahead of the Cardinals 4-3 in St. Louis in the 7th inning. Reds ahead of the Dodgers in Cincinnati in the 7th, 3-1. Game still yet to begin. Phillies in Colorado taking on the Rockies at 6:10. Guardians and the Angels in Anaheim at 6:40. And finally, the Marlins and the Diamondbacks at 7:10 in Arizona. And that's a look at the full out-of-town scoreboard on this Saturday across the major leagues. Well, one of the headlines in the Padres lineup today, David Peralta making his first start as a Padre here at Petco Park. Had a very nice game on Thursday in Cincinnati, 3 hits. Did a really nice job in that one. Peralta obviously spent a number of years with the Diamondbacks, then one with the Dodgers, and has played a lot of games here at Petco Park. Started a lot of games here at Petco Park, but has never started one as a Padre. Before we hear from David Peralta himself, here was Manny Machado yesterday inside the Padres clubhouse talking about the impact that someone like David Peralta can have on a clubhouse.
I mean, huge. I mean, he's another great clubhouse guy. Not only what he can do out there on the field, against righties and performance-wise, but what he brings to the team. and he's a good clubhouse guy, been on winning teams, knows the game, plays the game the right way. So, he's definitely bringing us energy to this ball club, when we need it the most this week. It's tough news hearing Bogey go down. That's always tough. So for him to come in here and step in and bring that energy right away was key for us.
That was Manny Machado talking about David Peralta. Let's hear from David Peralta himself. Peralta starts by talking about joining the Padres, what that feels like.
I'm really excited to be here, especially like I've been facing this team for a long time, so I feel like when I got here, I feel like part of the team right away, and they really welcome me really well, all the guys and everything, and just, we've been playing really well the last few games, well, the only 2 games that I've been here, so we're just looking to keep continuing to do that, keep the good energy and the good vibe that we have right now.
How has it been managing coming back from the surgery that you had?
It's been, I'm not going to lie, it's been rough. It's been tough because it was a long recovery for me, trying to come back to the big leagues and everything, playing in AAA and all this kind of stuff, proving that I'm healthy. And it wasn't easy, but, there was a lot of stuff that I had to prove, especially healthy-wise, and I did it. So I'm really thankful for the cops that really helped me to finish my rehab and everything. Things didn't work with them. It's part of baseball. But I'm glad that I'm here, that San Diego Padres given the opportunity to be back in the big league and knowing that I know that I can help this team to win.
How quickly did you get aligned with the Padres?
When I opted out of my contract, took a few days, to my agents to do their thing and start talking with everything, and then it was right away, hey, Jess, and then, hey, when do you want to play? And I'm like, right now. It was fun because it was Thursday, 10:30 p.m., and I was about to go to bed because I told my agent, hey, I'm on daddy duties right now at home. I need to get up early. I need to go to training. I need to get my girls ready for school. But I said, hey, can you fly? I can fly tomorrow if you guys want. And that's what we did. I went straight to play in Vegas. The team with AAA was playing over there, did my thing, and here I am.
How rewarding to make an immediate impact with your new team when you join the Padres?
When you join this kind of team, great team, that you have good energy, I'm expecting to have good stuff. That's what I'm expecting to be good. I'm expecting to all my teammates do really well. And as soon as I put one foot in the clubhouse, all I felt was the good energies. They welcomed me really well, and I was like, oh, this is going to be great. I feel the good energies, and everyone's just hungry to win, and that's what we've been doing this past few days.
You've had the opportunity to play here with a visiting team many, many times, but to now be a Padre, obviously it's a place that gets a lot of fan support, great crowds the last handful of years. What's your level of excitement for that in particular?
I love it. Like you said, playing against this team for many years, and I hear a lot of stuff from the fans out there. Oh, David Boo. Now I'm expected to hear, David, yeah, let's go, let's do it. Yeah, I can't wait for that. I know they have a great fans, and they support no matter what, and I'm looking for that.
All right, that was David Peralta inside the Padres clubhouse yesterday, talking with the media. Obviously sounds very excited to be with the Padres. And by the way, you heard David Peralta there talk about recovering from a surgery. Just so you know, and I should have said this before Peralta started talking, but Peralta recovering from surgery on his left forearm. He had that, it sounds like in late October, underwent flexor tendon surgery on his left arm. So the 36-year-old was returning from a surgery heading into this season. So that's what he was referring to throughout the pregame comments there. But good to hear from David Peralta. Peralta had a really nice game in Cincinnati. 3 hits. Obviously somebody who's put together quality at-bats for a long, long time in the major leagues. And we'll see if Peralta can get something going against right-hander Marcus Stroman on the mound for the Yankees here today. As always, if you want to get involved on our pregame coverage, you can do that in a number of different ways. You can tweet at me at SammyLev, SammyLev. Instagram DM's open as well. Sammy Lev there too, SammyLev. You can comment on our YouTube, Facebook, Twitter video streams. Let me know, what's your key to the game? I may just read it live here on the air. I don't know. I got a couple of guys sitting in front of me. If they got keys to the game, Maybe I'll pop them on the air. They can have their own segment. All right, let me give you my keys to the game as we get ready for Game 2 of this 3-game series against the Yankees.
How will the Padres unlock a victory in today's game? These are the keys to the game. Presented by Honor Buick GMC Hummer in National City.
Key number 1, somehow, some way, limit the Yankee power. The Yankees have won 10 of their last 12 games while hitting 27 home runs during that span. The Yankees hit another 4 home runs on Friday. The Yankees lead the major leagues with 79 homers and a .440 team slugging percentage. After last night, the Yankees, how about this? I could not believe this stat when I read it. The Yankees are 37-4 this season when Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton both hit a home run in the same game. So last night when they both went yard, pretty good chance Yankees are going to win. Question here tonight, can the Padres, can Dylan Cease, can the bullpen, can they limit Judge and Soto and Stanton, and especially from the power perspective? Again, they've hit 27 home runs combined in the last 12 games. If the Padres can do that, they have a good chance to win this game, but that's key number 1, somehow, some way, limiting the Yankee power. Key number 2, somehow, some way, get to a Yankee starter. And here's how I bring it up. Here's why I bring it up. Yankee starting pitchers have a 0.84 ERA over their last 12 games. Their starters have pitched 5+ innings while allowing 2 earned runs or less in now a franchise record 12 consecutive games. And Marcus Stroman has been a big part of that, a 2.22 ERA over his last 4 starts while allowing 1 run or less in 3 of them. Padres got to find a way to do some damage against the Yankees starting rotation. Tonight's candidate is Marcus Stroman. We'll see if the Padres can do that. Get some runs, get some early offense against Marcus Stroman, something they could not do last night against left-hander Carlos Rodon. And key number 3, the power of the pen. Can the Padres keep their bullpen rolling? Since the start of their last road trip, beginning in Atlanta, Padres relievers have allowed just 4 runs in their last 28 innings, a 1.29 ERA in the last 8 games. That's the best mark in the NL during that span. So the bullpen has been really good. Yesterday's game kind of got away early, but you hope if it's a situation where the Padres have a lead and the bullpen is asked to protect that lead, got to keep that bullpen rolling. That's key number 3, and that's a look at our keys to tonight's game against the Yankees. When we come back on our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show, we'll hear from former Yankee Michael King. Plus, we tell you what to watch for in tonight's game, and we take a much deeper dive into our starting pitching matchup between Marcus Stroman and Dylan Cease. First pitch is coming up at 6:40 here in downtown San Diego. I'm Sam Levitt on the Padres Radio Network.
Stay tuned to the
Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we get ready for first pitch coming up at 6:40, Game 2 of this three-game series between the Padres and the New York Yankees. Let's read a couple of your keys to the game from our YouTube comments. We've got Katie saying, keys, score runs. Seriously, that's it. That is the key. Katie, after getting shut out last night, I feel what you're saying, no doubt about it. That's a big key in tonight's game. Caleb saying, hey, Sam, key to the game is play like this is your house. No more home losses. Caleb, you make a good point. Let's dive a little bit deeper into that and how the Padres can play better here at home as we tell you what to watch for in tonight's game.
What's the one thing Sam Levitt will be keeping his eye on in today's game? This is What to Watch For. Presented by Genesis Home Improvements, San Diego's trusted painting, roofing, and window company. Save 15% today on a new beginning for your home. Visit GenesisHomeImprovementsSD.com.
What to watch for in tonight's game. Can the Padres offense get it going here at Petco Park? And more specifically, how does Luis Arraez play into the offense getting it going? Let's start with the big picture. The Padres got shut out last night, once again here at home. That's now 5 shutouts in their last 13 games. At home, the Padres have scored just 3.81 runs per game, a .222 team batting average at home. On the road, the Padres are hitting .288 as a team. So again, .288 on the road, .222 here at home. That's got to change. Padres got to hit the ball better here at home. How do they do that? Well, tonight with the Luis Arraez at the top of the lineup, you could certainly argue that Luis, doing what he's done after an 0-for-4 night, that would play a big factor. That could spark this lineup. And Arraez certainly a candidate to do it. He has been so good for the Padres since showing up. How about this? Luis Arraez, coming off his 8 consecutive multi-hit game run, he has more multi-hit games this season than strikeouts this season. He has 22 multi-hit games on the year and just 14 strikeouts on the year. So Luis Arraez, after an 0-for-4 night, if I were a betting man, I'd be saying Luis Arraez is going to have a base hit or two here tonight. We'll see if that can spark this Padres offense, but this offense getting it going here in downtown San Diego, it is a must right now. And that's what to watch for in tonight's game. Can the Padres offense get it going against Marcus Stroman and the Yankees? As far as the opposing offense, well, the Yankees led by a couple of guys right now, Juan Soto and Aaron Judge. Both those guys hitting home runs in yesterday's game. Aaron Judge hitting one for the Yankees. Michael King played with Aaron Judge for a number of years. The former Yankee was inside the Padres clubhouse yesterday, and King was asked what the secret would be to getting Aaron Judge out.
That's a tough one. And there are certain hitters that it's like, you look at it and you're like, I don't even know where to. I got to just hope that he hits a 110 mile an hour line drive right at somebody. But I still feel like if you are a good enough pitcher and you're executing pitches, you obviously have the upper hand. All pitchers are the ones that are on the attack, So it's really just making sure that he's not comfortable in there and can sit on sequences and we can't be behind in counts and have to throw strikes to him. So it's a challenging lineup because you also have Soto right in front of him. So now you can't fall behind in the count 2-0 to him because you can't just say, I'm going to walk him to face Judge, So there are certain guys that, and we've obviously faced lineups. So, I remember facing the Dodgers, and it's like you got Mookie and then Ohtani and then Freeman. So it's a similar style where you have to make sure that you're on for those guys, and you also have to make sure that there aren't many people on base when they're up because that's when damage really occurs.
Let's take a look at who's on the bump today with our starting pitching preview on the Padres Radio Network.
On the mound for the Yankees today, right-hander Marcus Stroman, the 33-year-old, having a very nice season so far. 3-2, a 3.05 ERA in 10 starts, 56 innings, 48 strikeouts, and 26 walks. He allowed just 1 run in 7 innings and a third against the Mariners on Monday. A 2.22 ERA in 4 starts during the month of May so far. Stroman's teams have won all 5 of his career starts against the Padres. He has a career 1.76 ERA against the Padres Pods. Splits for Stroman so far. He's been quite a bit better against righties than lefties. Righties batting just .207 against him, lefties at .253. And the arsenal for Marcus Stroman, the sinker, slider, cutter, slurve, splitter, and a four-seam fastball. Meanwhile, on the mound for the Padres, right-hander Dylan Cease. The 28-year-old is 5-3, a 3.05 ERA in 10 starts as a Padre. 59 innings, he struck out 73 and walked 20. Last start Monday in Atlanta, 4 innings, 5 earned runs given up, 2 home runs allowed. Start before that, 5 2/3 innings, 3 earned runs given up. That was against the Rockies, but really before the last 2 starts, Cease had been simply dominant for a run of 4 or 5 starts. Really, really good. Cease is 1-1 with a 6.75 ERA in 4 career starts against the Yankees. He'll make his 5th career start against the Bronx Bombers here tonight. The arsenal for Dylan Cease, as we know, he relies on that four-seam fastball and the slider. Also will mix in the knuckle curve, sweeper, and a cutter. And that's a look at our starting pitching matchup here tonight between Dylan Cease and Marcus Stroman. You've been listening to the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show on the Padres Radio Network. EcoWater SoCal, your water should be perfect. Find them online at EcoWaterSoCal.com. Game 2 of this 3-game series coming up in just a little bit. Padres enter at 500, a record of 27-27. Padres have won 13 of their last 23 games, but the Yankees, right now the best team in the American League, they come in at a record of 36-17. Yankees 17-5 in the month of May. They've won 10 of their last 12. The Yankees playing really, really well right now. We'll see if Dylan Cease and the Padres can cool them off here tonight in America's finest city. When we come back, Jesse Ackler, Bob Scanlon have the full starting lineups, first pitch, and then all the play-by-play. I'll talk to you on our post-game show. You're listening to your home for San Diego Padres baseball, 97.3 The Fan, and the Padres Radio Network. Enjoy the game, everybody.